Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Day After podcast.
What's up, guys? Yeah, that episode was a lot of twists and turns, in my opinion. I feel Tori has plot armor.
Yeah, she really does. She's the Amanda Young of this season.
Yeah,
Man, and I've listened now to both Swathy's exit interview and Zach's, and it's the like exact same like scenario almost of right after the immunity challenge. It seems like the consensus is it has to be Tori. Then she goes off to talk to Drea for like an hour, like immediate talks to Drea for an hour, and then it's someone else.
yeah. These, uh, these peeps. I don't know. I feel like we definitely need to see more of Tori to see like if this is actual strategy. Well, I mean, yes, it is strategy, but if this is actually an effective one because
Yeah.
it's worked twice. However, is it going to keep working?
Yeah. Oh, this is what I would say. I think this strategy is fine in the pre-merge, trying to kind of just throw people under the bus like this.
Yeah,
But the second you hit a jury phase and you do something like this, like I know that Zach or Swathy would not have voted for Tori at the end
no,
after these tribal councils. So it's definitely can she still play that section of the game and not make people bitter towards her?
it's tricky to say because also one thing we do have to talk about is that the fact that it looks definitely like whether it's just like Jeff just acknowledging the obvious, but the Taku tribe being
Yeah.
so like tight and everything and so like great and winning that the other tribes are gonna be like, hey, we got to get John down and like we have to take down his peeps as well. I can definitely see that happening at the merge.
Yeah, unless Jonathan just like wins every immunity challenge,
That's
which all like legit could happen. Like
yeah,
let's be like even though like there's not as many strength challenges like in that section anymore. Like
yeah.
he you can tell I mean he's going to still kill those endurance challenges. Like there's no way he's going to suck at those. Yeah.
The dude has done like surfing stuff as well, so balance is definitely going to be
Yeah.
bouncing on a surfboard. For those of you who don't know, I haven't tried it, but I know people that have done it. It's very freaking challenging.
Yeah.
One of the hardest sports to like do, if in my opinion, because of like you're bouncing on water.
Yeah.
uh
Yeah, and he by the way, Ryan, thanks for sending me his video, his
his
audition
audition
video.
tape. Yeah,
Yeah, that was something. Definitely everyone can watch it.
yeah.
I didn't know that he was trained by Lex Luger. I don't know if they mentioned that in the show. I don't think they did because
Nah.
yeah, it was like what? That's crazy.
Like even though I don't know, like he's a wrestler, right?
Yeah, he was basically right after Hulk Hogan, he was supposed to be the next Hulk Hogan.
Gotcha. Well,
But no one liked him because he was wrestling against Shawn Michaels, who is considered one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. So they all rooted for him instead.
gotcha. Yeah, like even since clearly I'm not as familiar with
Yeah,
that person, it sounds so much like Lex Luthor that
yeah,
the name would have stuck out to me if
yeah,
they did mention it.
yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, after this, watch Jonathan Young's audition tape. It's really cool. And he one thing that Jonathan mentioned in this episode was also mentioned in his audition tape about him and his brother, how they would race up a mountain.
Yeah.
And if well, in the audition tape, it says if they stopped, they would have to do it 3 more times. But in like the show, he was
Mhm.
like, if you lose, you have to do it 3 more times.
Uh-huh.
Which either
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
everything is
that's interesting. I wonder if when they had him like come in for interviews and stuff, if like they almost kind of like worked on that story with him and like talked about like how that story works. It was like, oh, you should say this instead because that will sound better for the show.
there's always that. There's
Yeah.
always that. But yeah, Jonathan is I do very well believe, yeah, I would say the one thing that might take him down is it's the even then he has a world record breaker for like, you know, pull-ups and stuff. It's the one where you're doing like, you know,
Yeah, you have to like hang your body pretty much.
and usually the bulkier contestants, even if they're strong, do bad because like you're supporting all your weight.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so curious how this cast is going to do immunity wise, because like we've talked about it, this really is one of the weakest casts in immunity challenges. Like I could see still like a lot of this cast dropping very early in that challenge just because they're not like that is a tough challenge. Like that is one that like, you know, you can go out early if you slip just a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, if we use the frame of reference of last season, like if you wanted to go by challenge, because they usually typically keep those kind of similar in the sense of like, you know, they have the equipment and stuff.
Exactly. If they do the one with the pole and they have to like hold on to it, I don't see Jonathan losing that one. Like there's no way any of this cast beats him in that one.
No, he's going to be a force to be reckoned. There's no going to be like in you know, Second Chance where they gave Joey Amazing like one like break from like elimination. Yeah. There's not going to be that in this game. It's like, nah, fam, you gotta go.
There's too much of a difference between him and the second strongest person out there. So, but like already, like after 4 episodes, it's already clear Jonathan will be a returning player. Like, there's no way that he's not returning to this game. Like, he can go out off the merge. He's gonna return again.
He can go out at the Verge and still, which I am worried about that. I don't know how that's gonna play out. Obviously, we don't know everyone going to the Verge just yet.
Yeah, we got one more tribal before that.
One more tribal. So about so to kind of like start off the episode, we kind of saw, you know, Danny kind of doing damage control of everything. But well, like, he was like, no,
we saw him not doing damage control. Actually, we saw the opposite.
Oh, I wrote down Danny damage control rain check.
Yeah,
but I didn't finish the rest of my notes. So I know I messed up after I finished it. But he was like, nah, let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
And everyone talked about it. Also, sometimes you don't want to wake up to an argument.
Yeah.
That's happened to me before, and it's like the worst.
Yeah, you also don't want to go to sleep with people mad at you, because it's gonna last longer than if you try to hash it out immediately.
Well, I mean, because they have all night to stew on it as well. And I mean, like Mike and Chanel, they're both pretty pissed at him. Chanel is especially because she's like, you threw me under the bus. And like, you didn't take any of the credit for what you did. Yeah, I was going after Lydia, but I'm not going to admit that right now. It's still like, you threw me under the bus. And she's playing that scenario smart, though. I don't know, like, I feel Danny is definitely in danger.
Yeah.
Because Mike is now like, nope, not going to work with him now.
Yeah, I have 2 pretty big targets. I think that will be big targets for next week if depending on their tribe goes to tribal, and Daniel is definitely one of those people. Like I don't see how he would wiggle his way out of this. Like, his only way to make it to the merge section is to survive this next tribal. Like just did not go, just to win immunity. That's his only way.
Yeah, it's just like the numbers aren't there. I feel like while Chanel is like a person where she was kind of in the wrong in the eyes of, like, you know, Hai and Lydia, she's still someone that has proven to like be loyal to her side, at least. Whereas you have Daniel, who his stock for alliances plummeted after that.
Yeah, there's no one on that tribe now that is going to be willing to work with him, which
No.
is never a good thing going into a merge where you had no tribe swap. So this is the people that trust you the most.
Funny enough, I did think that there was part of me that was like, wait, is there going to be a tribe swap? Because they brought all their bags,
Uh-huh.
and it was like very, very like apparent because like their bags are kind of hard to miss
Mhm.
because they're brightly their tribe colors. I was like, hold up, is there?
Uh-huh.
But no, um, which makes sense because of like how these idols work.
Mhm.
It's just like odd how it would be a very complicated situation to try and do that and
Mhm.
the tribe swap as well.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, I want to point out real quick before we keep moving on the confessional counts of this season compared to last season actually,
Yeah,
because last season I think the confessionals were all over the place. Like some people got like no confessionals at all. Some people were getting a lot of confessionals, like way too many confessionals for where their placement was or anything like that. But it's a way more spread out this season. The only people who haven't really been getting as many confessionals are Rock, Troy, and Lydia. Those are
all right.
really the only people who have back-to-back episodes where they have no confessionals.
That is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, like,
I know, like,
but I believe because last episode was the JD boot in 41, he had let me pull it up. I believe it was 22 confessionals in 4 episodes. His first episode had 10 confessionals.
yeah,
No one had close to 10 confessionals this time. They made sure that that it was more like they didn't give a bunch of focus to a bunch of individuals. They really have spread it out more, and I think that's contributing to the season being way better, in my opinion.
yeah, um, yeah. I will say, like, at this point, last season, I feel both of us were like, I was still keeping up hope that 41 was going to be like really good.
Mhm.
I mean, I feel like 41 was good, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, amazing. They had some like really nice moments in it and some great players, but this one feels like it's consistently.
Yeah, and that was my thing. Like, there was like at least 3 episodes or so, and they were kind of like distributed kind of evenly where they were happening, to where I just kept feeling like they were dragging the episodes down. So we haven't had a whole episode on advantages where it's just advantages. That's
Yeah,
good. Like that was like that's what made episode 3 like one of the worst episodes of Survivor, in my opinion. So I'm glad that they haven't done that. The last week's Shipwheel Island was actually a successful Shipwheel Island, the first one,
yeah.
like where it actually had a payoff.
Oh yeah.
um,
Um,
so yeah.
I feel like, obviously when they do with 41 or like when they're starting to change up the game, the first one, the first one's always going to have like mistakes in the sense of
Mhm.
like, all right, well, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. And since they're formatting it the same, they're like, well, all right, they get to pick and choose and edit um, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel bad for those that were on the 41 cast, to be honest, because I feel like a lot of the stuff going on this season, like they just tweak things better. I think that there's so cast is just trying to be more fun, like they're not so serious about like everything that's going on. They're just playing a fun game of Survivor, and that's
Well,
what we tune in for.
yeah. Um, because like it's always interesting when social stuff does come up in Survivor.
Yeah.
You know, tribe chemistry or like cast chemistry in that matter. You know, always plays a factor, and it's like especially with that season, especially like how things kind of like all the POCs getting together and wanting to form an alliance because it's like wow, wouldn't it be great if we had like an all black final four or five or something like that and like it just didn't pan out that way. It was because it's like a huge plot point. I mean, I'm pretty sure like stuff like that has come up this season, but maybe like it won't be as a heavy influence near the end.
Mhm.
um yeah, like you never know. And plus like with a different cast, different situations come up. Um, yeah, so I don't really see we'll get too much of like what we saw last time. And also a lot of people, some people were turned off by that. I know like when Survivor does bring up these things, I'm like, I do want to see like the gameplay and everything. I know it's important to like listen to what they have to say and everything. And like it has led to some like great moments, like with in 39 we got a good moment because of that. And like they're like roommates and BFFs,
Yeah, exactly.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah. It's fine when that stuff comes in. It's when it bleeds into the game and it stays there the entire game, and it's like they kind of keep reminding you of it over and over again. That's when it gets a little bit. Plus, with the gameplay stuff of production, like sometimes when you have both of those just kind of hitting each other back and back, it's just you kind of just are like, okay, next, let's move on to the next one now.
Fair.
Daniel actually in confessionals is he's like right behind the front runners of Mike and Marianne. He's right up there in confessionals. So as one of the big confessional getters,
Well, I feel like especially with Daniel, he's someone where he has a very interesting personality, a quirk to him, and so like he gives decent confessionals as a result, especially since he's like this big focal point within that tribe, like the controversy, and also like him being the only one, him knowing like how the idol actually works, as opposed to Mike, who's like, he didn't read the one small detail. And could that really cost him? We have one episode left.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like, I think there's two people on the block for next week's episode, and I think whoever goes home next week, then the other person will go home in the Furge by basically being thrown under the bus by their tribe. Like, I'm thinking that is probably one of the other. I mean, of course, Hourglass Twist might completely make something change or whatever. Like, who knows what that's gonna happen.
Was it confirmed that that's coming back?
No, it has not been confirmed, but it is highly speculated. Right. I think
I do like the Furge. I think it's a very interesting thing. It's shitty, but I mean, like, I actually no, I feel like the Hourglass thing is what made the Furge a little bit like, hold up, no. But I mean, it was one of those moments where, because it happened last season, it's going to, like they're going to decide, all right, was this good? Was this good twist? It might come back just because Erica won.
Yeah. That's a good thing. Like that gave us that was the story arc pretty much for Erica. It started with the Hourglass. So
yeah, which everyone's vocal, and we've talked about it too. Like there's no way you're not going to do that.
Yeah, exactly. You can't give her like a lot of credit really for the move, because like of course you're going to do it. Like
if anything, it would have been sus if she didn't do it.
Yeah. There's only really a bad way you can look after it, because either you do what is expected or you don't, and people will yell at you because you were stupid and you went home for it.
Yeah. But man, we'll just have to see. With the next episode.
Yeah. To be fair, I did see Stephen Fishback back. I believe it was him. Said that it might be a little different with the season, only because of if a Taku member has to be the one to smash the Hourglass. They're very kumbaya. Like the reason Erica flipped was she was already kind of against that, those people. But if say Omer or Marianne have to be the ones to smash the Hourglass, I don't think they are. I think especially because if Jonathan is winning the challenge and everything, and like let's don't turn it all back onto your tribe. Like let's maybe just don't smash the Hourglass and trust your tribe.
there is that possibility. Because this scene has shooken a lot. You know, like even how like the contestants have reacted to some of the things, like Shot in the Dark has gotten a lot more play this time around already. I mean, like, granted, it was only done once during the Purge in 41,
Yeah.
but you know, like other than freaking forgetting their name. How am I forgetting their name?
Who are you talking about? Sydney?
Jenny.
Jenny.
During that tribal council, no one played their Shot in the Dark.
Yeah, because
So,
the
like,
votes, all the votes mattered in that tribal really bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, people are playing differently, and Mike, you know, like wanting to wait for the activation and stuff like that, or just like, oh yeah, it's gonna happen in the merge. Like, you know, people are interacting with these things differently. So, like, even with the hourglass, we could see it being done differently as well. You never know with Survivor.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know, back in 41, the twist apparently was with the Beware idols was you had to say them in order for them to be activated. You actually couldn't go to the merge without saying it. And Xander was actually told he has to say it at every immunity challenge. Like, he was literally told by the producer that he had to do that.
Gotcha.
So I recently saw Xander's thing about this last episode of Survivor, and he broke down the differences between their games, which was a pretty good, insightful kind of insight there.
I feel like Mike having to say that over and over again, especially since he doesn't love.
Yeah, I think it's better for the game to not have to say it at every immunity.
Yeah.
I think it's just better. I did not like that it just became so clear who had the idols after like you say it 2 to 3 times.
Yeah.
And like what is with the tribe just not finding idols? Like they're going so long without finding.
Marianne was disappointed in that, and I'm like, she's not wrong.
Right? Like I get not finding the idol in the first like 2 like tribals, but like after that, like someone's gotta find it.
Exactly. Like, as like even like people, everyone's always suspicious of the first people to go.
Yeah.
So as long as you like don't do it like the first 3 days, you're fine.
Exactly.
Because you already kind of established that trust.
Exactly. And you can get you could get like a friend, like an ally, to go get food or wood or something, and you know, if they're like your number one, you say, hey, let's do some idol hunting now.
Yeah, you gotta wait. You can't just like go idol hunting right off the bat, because I think other than Mike White, everyone else, it's spelled bad news for them. Tony famously declaring it.
Right away.
Yeah, I'd say the only one where she didn't win, but Kelly, but I mean, like, another exception might be like Kelly Wentworth, because like, you know, like she went idol hunting and she found the clue for it pretty early on. But everyone is, but that was also like back in season 31. Season 40 and above, no one trusts anyone.
Yeah. It is you don't trust anyone, but yet you tell everyone everything.
Yeah, it's, which also is kind of like something that if we go back to Ika, who lost this challenge, that kind of really screwed over some people, like Tori, for trying to bring in Roxroy. Did not work well for her.
Nope.
Like, Tori reminds me of someone, for those of you who have ever played D&D, who keeps failing all the rolls and is rolling very badly and is like just not doing well, but lands a natural 20 when it really counts.
Yeah, and when it's like the luck roll almost. It's like the charisma checks keep coming back really low, and then you have to get like a luck roll. Right like like it's the do or die really. And she keeps getting the nat 20 then.
Yeah, exactly. I'm currently playing a character that's kind of like that. But it's I don't know, it's also, it's like you do have to be careful what you say and like who you reveal it to, because like even if you reveal it, someone else might say something for leverage. Even like when Tori was supposedly really tight with Swati, her only in, threw her under the bus and saying like, oh yeah, she was saying my number one, and then like with that conversation with Romeo, wait, she said that to me, and then we see all these flashbacks of it, and then we're like, oh, okay, she's screwed now.
Tori's I just don't know what to think of her game. Like it's so messy.
It's very messy.
It's so messy, but somehow like she's still here, so I guess you can like say, wow, she dodged 2 tribals where it was her name originally, but like it's not good to have your name originally.
Not at all. I mean, obviously, I'm still like, I'm rooting for her in the sense of like, okay, I chose you as my winner pick. I can't just take that back. That was my prediction based off the data I had. So I'm not stuck with you, but I still am like on your team by that logic.
Exactly.
So like seeing her do this, like it could be a thing of like she has a rough pre-merge, and then like when the merge comes, that's when she blossoms, and it's more her style. Because it's especially the people that are on the bottom of their original tribe, they usually end up in a form of power position at the merge.
Exactly, and as I was saying, like I think there's 2 people who are in danger, and it's really because it just seems like they're so easy to be like kicked to the curb in the Furge or the merge areas. So I just imagine Roxroy is the other one on the Ika tribe. Like I think he's a very easy throw him to the wolves at the Furge kind of boots. Like, oh no, Roxroy's available and I'm available. I don't like Roxroy. No one on that tribe, was really on the Roxroy train.
Also, the thing with Roxroy, I do feel like I have like two things to say about him. One, the fact that he decided not to go with the majority and was like, no, on principle, I'm still going to vote for Swati.
Yeah.
It's hard to change people's minds that play like that. Therefore, Tori, who is more flexible, would be better stock to bring to the merge, as opposed to Roxroy, who is very like dedicated and loyal and set in his ways in that regard. Though, if he does make to the merge, I think him and Mike could get along very, very well because they have that similar mentality.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. The older guys on the tribes kind of still around. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. Though, however, I feel like, if they go to tribal, it could be Tori or Roxroy.
Yeah.
And I feel like Roxroy, you don't have as much playability in the merge because he has been shown to be very, very adamant about like, doing things his way.
Yeah, I think he wants to play a bit more of an old school style game, and I don't think anyone on this tribe other than him wants to do that. No. So yeah, I could definitely see him. And I think Daniel is also Daniel. I think either Daniel or Roxroy goes home next week, and I think the other one has a very good chance to go in the week after that. Mostly because there's been like these 2 big story buildups on these tribes about how they've caused dissension among their camps, and I just imagine that that's going to like blow over when everyone has to come together and someone can finally like say, hey, let's get rid of this person because they've been either annoying me around camp, they're not trustworthy, they're snake. Like both Daniel and Rockroy have those stories of tribe turning on them.
Yeah. It's going to be tricky because like both of them could even get immune. You don't know. I forget.
Exactly.
Was it a random draw?
No,
Or
so they did a challenge in the Furge to do it.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
But like for how the teams and the people that sat out, was it a captain's choice or was it like a random draw of who gets assigned what? I think it wasn't it a
I thought it was
random.
Yeah, it was random draw, right? We're still talking about what happened last season.
Yeah, with the Furge, how they chose.
Yeah. Erica had grabbed the purple rock twice because that's what was like really interesting with she. So yeah, it was random draw.
Gotcha. So just had to refresh my memory there.
Yeah.
So like when it comes to like random teams and stuff like that, it literally can go any way.
Yeah.
So for all we know, Rocksroy and Mike, not Mike, Daniel could end up on the same team as well as Jonathan, and then like they're just immune. And if there is no what is it, hourglass thing, or if they're not affected by the hourglass, if they're on the same team, that does kind of complicate things a little bit for them.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I think one of them has to go in this next episode. I feel like it's kind of in the cards that it has to happen. And like I think Daniel's the better character than Rocksroy. So like in terms of television, I do want Daniel to make it to the Furge.
That's fair.
Because Rocksroy, I mean, he's just a curmudgeon. Like that's just his character. And at least Daniel, I love seeing sometimes when someone just has a really bad game and they just keep somehow doing the wrong thing. Like it is, there's more humor to that.
Yeah. Daniel is another individual that keeps failing his saving throws. So, all right. What else is there to talk about? Yeah, I guess on the Rocksroy thing, the whole thing about it did seem like him around camp, though someone like that, I could see them wanting to bring Rocksroy as kind of like a, like, oh, because he might rub people the wrong way because he has been known to mansplaining about a lot of things. He could be like, in the same regard as like a Nora or like someone to bring because like he has rubbed so many jury members the wrong way, not by gameplay, just by, how he,
but just by being himself.
Which I don't think he's a bad guy at all. I just feel like he's, stay-at-home dad. He's so used to being the parental figure in charge of the household.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for him that he got cast on the season because there's not a lot of villains on the season, so they have to give someone some kind of villain edit, and I feel like he's getting the pre-merge villain edit here. I feel like he's getting this kind of like, Romeo's clearly has had now multiple like things about how Rocksroy's been getting on his nerves. It just seems like he's the one that's causing the dissension for the Ika tribe the most, even though Tori's out there like causing the tribal council chaoses and everything. It's like then after that then it's Rocksroy's annoying everyone.
Here's the thing, I feel like especially when there's not a clear-cut villain, I feel like this show doesn't really have a villain, it just has antagonists.
Yeah, like I'd say Tori's an antagonist. She's definitely
Daniel's a bit of an antagonist, but like and Rocksroy is and I don't Taku doesn't have any.
Taku is like the greatest. Like honestly, I think they're my favorite tribe. Like I really like. I think I like everyone on that tribe. So
Taku has, I feel like Taku, all of them have different walks of life, but that's so great because like there's someone for everyone in that tribe.
Yeah.
And like, and they had to kind of circle back to like one of the things where, topics about like diversity, stuff like that. I feel like they had a really great moment with the whole thing of like, oh, we come from different religions, and like, oh, we can bond through that.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Taku is a great tribe.
We've been getting a lot of positive content from this tribe, which really does make me think that there's a winner on this tribe, even though they're not going. Like they're still getting. I feel like even when it seems like maybe a negative was happening, like with the whole Jonathan like blurting out about how they're a tight four and everything. We still end up coming back there, and then we get like this great thing about Jonathan's backstory and how he's going to keep doing this even though he's a threat and everything. And it's just like, okay, well, clearly they could have shown this in a much more negative light if they wanted to.
I mean, when your dad is like, oh, hey, you have to run up a mountain 4 times,
Yeah.
some would say, oh, that is being too harsh of a parent. But, he's like, nah, that stuff helped build me, I mean, like, it's like, but yeah, he's doing so well. Like, he's like a fan favorite.
He reminds me of like if Total Drama Island wanted to have a contestant who is like just crazy stronger than everyone else and was literally just throwing everyone into the challenges and stuff. Like he's literally doing that. Like he is literally cartoony in that regard. Like it's hilarious.
Everyone's calling him Thor, Aquaman. Also, he's 25.
Yeah, 28.
28? Oh, I was about to say.
Yeah.
I was like, still.
Yeah. Still young. Like he like I thought for a little bit that he was like early 30s, but yeah, no, he's still in his 20s. So that means that he's got many years still of like peak prime to be coming on Survivor and winning challenges.
Those of you home, the man, when this was filming, he is only 3 years older than me, and there's a huge gap of like everything. But I also feel I know some people that don't like Marianne just because like she's a big ball of energy, and some people are turned off by that. I'm like all for Marianne. I feel like she's so much fun, like her one-liners, or like when she was screaming about like how big the fish were, which was also pretty impressive. Like in a season where they really starve you, these were like very impressive fish.
Yeah, this was actually probably one of the better rewards, at least in the pre-merge, at least between this and last season. Because they got they each get 2 fish by themselves, and then they get to like share a half a fish with, so 2.5 fish each. Like, I don't think they finished all of those. that's too much fish.
I mean, hell, they're starving. I'm sure pretty much the next day, they'll just munch on.
Well, you can't refrigerate it, so it would go bad.
I mean, if you charred it enough, wouldn't it be all right?
No,
I'm not much of a cooker.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, I am. It's just I don't know enough about all foods. Like I can bring out the skills when it's Thanksgiving or whatnot, or like if I want to make something special. But like, I'm not a culinary expert by any means.
Yeah, Ryan, you can try cooking a fish and then leaving it out on your countertop, and then eat it the next day without doing anything else to it.
I have too much in my life right now to do that as of this moment. But who knows?
So, it's definitely had to eat it within the first few, probably 3 to 4 hours. I'd imagine was the when they have to try to get it down.
Fair enough.
But yeah, this was the fish episode, because even in the immunity challenge, there was a fish puzzle. Yeah,
which that one is always tricky because, like, as we saw with Ika, you're fighting gravity at the same time.
Yeah,
and it's like you can kind of like place things out prior to that, but at the same time, like, things have to stick, and like you really have to. I mean, with puzzles, it's always easy if you get like the sides first and then work inwards. For this, no, you there's a set way to do the puzzle.
Yeah. Yeah. What was happening with Drea is like my fear if I was ever having to do the puzzle. And one of the reasons why I wouldn't want to do it, honestly, is like because you have to like make sure it stays in there, but at the same time, like it's very easy for that bottom half to just fully come out and you got to
Yeah,
redo it pretty much, which is, very
awesome.
stressful, especially if you then look over at Vati and they've caught up to you and now you're like, oh no, our lead is blown and
Is
now
it,
yeah.
especially since it was like two pieces away, and it was like the easy pieces where you just stick them in.
Yeah,
It did cost that one drop cost them because it was like I would say maybe like less than 15-second difference
yeah,
from completion, and that's
yeah,
being very gracious with my numbers.
exactly. Yeah, Daniel was almost gone this episode if that happened, but he managed to dodge a bullet there, even though he wasn't in the challenge. Because apparently his shoulder's still injured. I will say now I think it's a little too long. And we're gonna see a bit of a preview. We saw that in the preview that Hai mentioned this as well. So yeah, it's he had the right to sit out, I think, for maybe like 5 days of
Yeah,
challenges. And then I think after that it was a bit too much.
yeah. Next
Yeah.
week is going to be interesting. Let me before we go on into the like next time on Survivor. Let me
Mhm.
see if there's anything.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I was still going to talk a little bit about the immunity challenge because we kind of we didn't do too much about it. I want to say Lydia having trouble with getting the key. She had to do
Yeah.
it twice. She had zero elevation in her jump. Like literally, it was like she was running straight forward and then just fell down.
Well, the thing is that challenge can be very hard because like Adam Klein had
Yeah,
difficulty in a similar challenge because
yeah,
like if you're a shorter individual and let's say you have shorter limbs, like I'm
yeah.
short, but I guess by force perspective, I have longer arms.
Mhm.
Um, actually, I do. Most of my like height comes from my torso, but interestingly enough,
Yeah.
TMI to those at home. But
Mhm.
if I go on Survivor, I kind of know going forward, you need that reach or that leg strength at the very least to compensate. And like, it's a lot of leg strength to just like, gain so many more inches when you're jumping.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, like when I was seeing that, I was getting flashbacks of the Adam Klein um, at Winners at
Yeah.
War. But like, they made the smart decision and it was like, all right, we're just gonna get Chanel back up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I think it's just like a cycle. So she just kind of missed her 2 cycles, but then it just forced Chanel to do it again.
gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, so yeah, Jonathan pulling the boat by himself, and I laughed really hard when Jeff said, and he's pulling Marianne along, and you just see her like literally being dragged in the water.
Yep. It's just Jonathan, man, just Jonathan. He is a demigod.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I just I'm thinking like me, like even if I was with someone, like that would be tough to like pull a boat with 2 other people in it, and like by just swimming. Like I
Yeah.
like that would be a lot. But to
Well,
do it pretty much by yourself while dragging your other person who's supposed to be swimming with you.
I mean,
And to be
also
like
you
so
see
much better than everyone else. Like it's just so crazy.
exactly. Also you see in his audition tape too that he got a scholarship to go to college for his swimming prowess. So
Mhm.
like this man is just like he's like built for like Survivor, like built to fight Cerberus. You know, yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think we've covered pretty much all the bases when it comes to the challenge.
Yeah. I think those were the big ones I wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
But yeah, Vati making the comeback here. Pretty big deal.
yeah.
And yeah, Ika ends up having to go. Swathi, who should not have been was not the target, ends up being the target.
Well, I feel like Swati like I said, she was like my number third pick. So we both have two people that thought we're gonna do really well that did
Yeah.
it. Um, Swati, she was playing the game well. It's just that she used that number one line too much, and then they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh wait, now she's the biggest threat."
Yeah.
Uh, you see,
Yeah. I yet again, her exit interview, interestingly enough, she actually said that Tori and Drea said that she was their number one. And then Swati just like reciprocated it back because she was like in the moment. But then in the edit, they made it look like it was Swati that was starting the stuff. But I don't know if that's really what Swati was if that's
well, I mean,
true.
regardless, when you say it
Um,
to everyone on your
yeah,
tribe, it's
yeah,
very sus.
yeah. If someone says you're my number one and they're not really your number one, say like, "Oh, we got this." Like don't repeat number one. Like just kind of like you can still be like psyched and like happy that they're doing this, but you don't have to necessarily repeat back
Yeah,
exactly what they just said.
wording is very, very important with certain things.
Mhm.
It's kind of like the genie. You got to be careful with wording. Otherwise, you end up with an extra limb or Will. Oh, shouldn't bring him up.
Yeah.
I was about to
After,
say in the Aladdin live action remake, where it was like, I can just make you a prince, and then there's a guy off in the distance. But like, examples like, you got to be careful what you say, but also like not just what you say, but your wording
Mhm.
as well. Um, but yeah, it's a lesson learned. I do feel like she was a good potential sleeper threat. She had a lot of potential. It's just she got kind of cut down at a time that makes it hard to justify bringing her back.
Yeah, exactly. And her exit, her last thing when she got voted out, saying that she finished in the same place as Boston Rob, voted out fourth on his first season. That's what she said, which is not accurate.
The only thing, well, one out there sometimes that even big Survivor fans like us get wrong at times.
Yeah, I think
Me
she
more
was.
so than you.
Yeah, I think what she was meaning was Boston Rob was on the fourth season, not voted out for. I think that's what
Well,
it meant. What she was thinking. I, I,
yeah.
I, I, I don't know if that's what she meant when she said it, but I think that might be where she got the four from.
Was it his fourth tribal council? No, because
No,
even then, it was still slip of the tongue. Maybe
yeah,
it was like a pre-merge thing, and like,
yeah,
uh, she, like we all make mistakes when it talks to like facts.
uh,
As our viewers know, I have quoted things wrong multiple
mhm,
times, but
yeah.
thankfully I have someone who's very, very smart like Joe to correct. And then I'm
uh,
like, okay, now I
hey,
should remember this well.
I messed up too. It's human nature to not know everything.
I know.
Mhm.
I know. Yeah. Let's see. Is there anything I feel like for a second I did think there might be an advantage in the gifts for the fish because they were really big fish. Just imagine like,
Yeah.
de-gutting and then you see oh
Yeah,
you just see a little note.
oh yeah. Only thing I feel like the degutting process is like the whole tribe is like kind of involved with like helping out and kind of being there for it.
Yeah.
So it would be pretty obvious that just a piece of paper slipped out of a fish.
Yeah.
Or what if
Um,
they ate the advantage? Ugh.
I mean, like Survivor has done stuff like that before, like talking about Boston Rob, the one where they're in those chocolate straws,
Mhm,
and
yeah.
like it blends in well, or like how in season 30, Joe found a bottle with an immunity or like a immunity clue in there, and
Uh,
like someone, if they weren't paying attention, it could have hit the back of their throat at the very least and then coughed.
yeah.
But You know, sometimes Survivor be like that.
That feels like that would happen with me. I feel like I would be the person who would be drinking something on a reward challenge and just like bring it back because I'm so thirsty that that I would end up coughing the advantage and everything just out in front of everyone.
Oh no. Well, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
I know. I know. I had a thought of like, you remember in season 39, Vince, I believe his name was, he hid his water, he hid it in his cantina,
Uh,
or canteen, not cantina.
yeah.
He hid his idol in the canteen, so that way no one would see it, and no one would really expect it.
That's
Just
right.
imagine just
I totally forgot that he had an idol. Like I was like, oh wait a second, oh yeah, he did. He didn't play it. I totally forgot about that.
I mean, as someone who would like to go on Survivor, I would be thinking of like different ways where, oh, where would I hide it? Because it can be tough, especially if you're coming back from something. They'll be suspect if you don't show your bag. They don't ask you to strip down, but it's like, usually it's kind of like Janet did. She's like, yeah, I don't have it in a fun moment.
Yeah.
I feel like the canteen would probably be the best place to hide it because, like, in your buff, some people could notice it like they did in season 40, or, some people might check your buff. But yeah, I will say this too. The one thing, and it's because they made Tori say the line in the trailer, the potato line didn't come up. And yeah, you did mention like because of what episode 5 is named, that it would probably show up then. It's one of the things where I'm like, okay, if it's between Swati and Tori, unless they do like a flashback thing, which they've been playing around with a lot more in recent seasons.
Exactly. It can't be Tori yet because you have to at least see that reaction of her face.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so like going into Tribal, I'm like, it's not going to be Tori, so it's going to be Swati. Hopefully, so we will see that.
So yeah, but my theory, I think, about the idol being found next episode, I think that's going to be true.
I'm a man that likes evidence and stuff, and like the evidence definitely supports it.
Maybe there's another advantage that Drea ends up finding. Like I don't know exactly what, but there might be something. But it's most likely the idol.
Yeah. That's another thing I'm interested. Are they going to hide an idol at the sit-out bench like they did with Xander? And like, are they going to do it this time and we see that revealed? Who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay, is there anything else that we want to talk on?
The only thing is like next week's episode and the Taku Kumbaya, it looks like it could be in jeopardy.
I still don't believe any of that.
Yeah, because like sometimes when someone's chopping wood or something, because it looked like Jonathan chopped like wood that was too close to Marianne. I feel that it's something that's easy to kind of like get over.
I would say like obviously Marianne's personality always seems kind of bright, but it still seemed like she was like kind of in a joking, like you almost hit me. Like it was almost like a kind of like it seemed more joking than like concerned, like how dare you almost hit me. It was so I feel like this might be more of a joke fight, kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he did this, but it's not like it's not going to actually have any tribal council weights. There are things that happen that have no impact on tribal council, but we're seeing it. And this is what I'm going back to. I think the winners on this tribe, because I think they're not going to tribal council again. And I think they want to make sure that this tribe is seen every episode.
Yeah. So what you said, the winner could be on there, whether it's Omer, Jonathan, Marianne, or Lindsay. I feel Lindsay might be a bit of a sleeper threat, though I don't think it's I feel like they've given her some, confessionals and stuff, but I haven't really. I wouldn't say like she's. Oh wait, you're frozen.
Oh, am I frozen? Can you see me?
You were for a second.
Okay.
You're good now. Not like the usual ways.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I mean, Lindsay has the same amount of
But-
confessionals as Jonathan. Just to let you know, they share the same confessional accounts. Yeah.
Huh.
But honestly, it seems like they're not giving him as many confessionals because he had a full challenge in the episode where he's just allowed to shine. Like he's the star of the challenge, like every week. So I feel like they're like, okay, we can just give him a couple of confessionals. We don't have to overdo it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think also they're just Marianne is a big personality. Jonathan is just like, a demigod.
Yeah.
And like it's hard, and we haven't received like Lindsay's backstory yet. And like Omar, definitely, with the whole thing about praying, we got to see his backstory and everything. So Lindsay, we haven't seen much of.
Yeah, we haven't gotten the personal content from her really, which is something that you usually want to see. And I think all three, like the other three of this tribe, have personal content now that can kind of like say, hey, that's a potential winner right there, because they're got personal and strategic content. So yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much everything.
Yeah, I think so. Let's move on to MVP and LVP of the episode.
MVP. It's so hard to say anyone other than Jonathan because he shines so well.
Yeah, because I don't really like no one on the blue tribe really had crazy great gameplay. Really, it was everything kind of seemed a little standard in terms of, like, I guess because even Tori, like, I mean, sure, she's able to not go home again, but it doesn't feel like she's like
I feel
putting herself in a good way to win.
I feel like, I think in my notes I said tattletale, but it's more but hey, they did something a little bit worse. Like, Zach lost the challenge, or Swati is promising #1 to everyone.
Yeah, I am interested. Romeo's got to do the challenge next week. He hasn't done the challenges in a bit, so.
I guess one more thing we can talk about Romeo. Romeo, I feel like he could have like a potential, I wouldn't say winner's edit, but a hero edit. Granted, we were kind of like underestimating him going in, but mostly because like there's no one really been like him on Survivor, as well as like, and you shouldn't always like count stuff that happened like for like promotional things. It just like his promotional stuff was done later on in the day, which was kind of weird. It definitely stood out for the Entertainment Weekly stuff, but I feel like, he also has like a good position to be kind of a protagonist, especially since like he's not causing a lot of drama or anything, but like in his like interviews and stuff, he said he was going to play very aggressive stuff like that, and we're just not really seeing it as much.
Yeah, it's a way more under the radar kind of gameplay style we're seeing from him. I've seen people consider him kind of like Courtney Yates type, actually, that they're pretty weak that go out there, but that actually ends up benefiting them because if they get to the merge or anything, they're just like, why take out Romeo? Like, there's other people that you could be targeting over him. Like he's just not going to be the target for honestly a good bit into the merge.
Yeah, very fair. And definitely after next week, we'll be getting into who and what in this purge/merge portion of the game. But if I have to choose an LVP, I feel like it could be Tori, it could be Swati.
Really, I'm going to say Daniel. Actually,
Daniel.
Like I really think that he could have handled going back to camp so much better. But I think because of how he's handled everything in this episode, I think it's just it made him the clear target. Whereas last week, I think you could still have turned it
more
into
playable.
Chanel. Yeah, I think you could have still worked it, but he should have immediately been like, "Hi, Lydia, let's go talk," and like solidify, "Hey, we're going to the end together." Like, I think he should have legit said, "Let's get to the end together," because you want to make sure Hi and Lydia trust you completely at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty fair. I don't necessarily want to piggyback off that. I'm still gonna say, I guess I'm gonna give it to Swati.
Mhm.
One, it's hard to get like over a sure thing, get like chosen for that, and also for not knowing her Survivor trivia.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
More so
If there's a
more so
Survivor
the-
quiz that you gotta face anyone, now we know Swathi is the one to challenge in the quiz.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Okay, well, yeah, that pretty much does it, I believe. That's episode 4 of Survivor 42, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's going to be the end of this episode. So we will catch you guys in the next one.
Peace out, everyone.